I remember the first time I saw my father cry. He was a strong, quiet man, my rock. But on the day his own father passed away, I saw a single tear trace a path down his cheek. It was a silent, devastating event. He wasn't sobbing, he was simply leaking a grief so profound that his lifetime of stoicism couldn't contain it. And in that moment, I realized I was seeing the realest, most honest part of him I had ever witnessed. When we think about the differences between men and women, one of the most common stereotypes is that men are simply less emotional. We see it everywhere, in movies, in our own families. We see men who are stoic, who are angry, who are confident, but we rarely see them cry. We've come to accept it as a simple fact of nature. But what if that's a profound misunderstanding? What if men feel emotion just as deeply, just as intensely as anyone else, but they've been trained from birth by a society that is deeply uncomfortable with their sadness? Today, we're going to have an honest conversation about the psychology of male tears. This isn't about biology, it's about the complex social and psychological forces that teach men to suppress their sadness, the devastating cost of this emotional silence, and the courageous work of creating a world where all of us have the freedom to be fully human. Pillar 1. The armor of stoicism, societal conditioning. The first and most powerful barrier to male tears is a deeply ingrained social contract that equates masculinity with stoicism. It's an unwritten rulebook handed to boys from their first scraped knee. This rulebook creates what psychologists call the man box, a small, confining container of acceptable male emotions. Inside the box, you are allowed to be confident, you are allowed to be competitive, and you are definitely allowed to be angry. But outside that box lies a whole spectrum of human feeling: sadness, fear, confusion, loneliness, that are often labeled unmanly. Crying, therefore, is not just an expression of sadness, it is treated as a fundamental violation of the masculine code. Let's imagine a scenario that plays out in countless homes and playgrounds. A young boy, maybe 7 or 8, gets his feelings hurt at school. A friend says something cruel, or he's excluded from a game. He comes home, his face crumpled, his eyes brimming with tears. He is experiencing real, valid emotional pain. He looks to a parent or guardian for comfort, and he hears those culturally defining words: "Hey, toughen up, shake it off, boys don't cry." The intention behind those words is often loving. The parent is trying to equip their son with the armor they believe he needs to survive in a tough world. But the lesson the boy learns is not about strength. The lesson is about suppression. He learns, my sadness is a problem to be hidden. My tears are a source of shame. To be seen as a strong boy, I must pretend I don't feel this. The psychology here is about identity formation. A boy learns who he is by internalizing the messages he receives. When his models of masculinity are silent movie heroes, stoic fathers, and tough athletes, he learns that emotional expression is a deviation from the ideal. His value, he comes to believe, is tied to his ability to not feel, or at least to never show that he feels. He is taught to build a wall between his inner world and the outer world. A healthy emotional life for any human requires the ability to identify, name, and process a full range of feelings. This childhood conditioning actively short-circuits that process. It's like being given a complex emotional instrument, but being told you are only allowed to play the angry, loud notes. The result is a generation of men who often arrive at adulthood with a limited emotional vocabulary. They may genuinely not have the words to describe what they are feeling beyond fine or pissed off, because they were never given the permission or the tools to explore anything else. Now, to add a layer of nuance, we have to ask, is there a benefit to this stoicism? This is the critical lens. It would be intellectually dishonest to say this trait has no value. Of course it does. The ability to remain calm and functional in a true crisis, a medical emergency, a natural disaster, a moment requiring decisive action, is an incredible strength. Society for millennia has relied on men to be the calm, steady hand in the storm. The problem is not the existence of stoicism in the male toolkit. The problem is when it becomes the only tool available for every situation. When the ability to be strong in a crisis transforms into an inability to be soft in a moment of personal grief, connection becomes impossible. It's like owning a hammer and treating every problem, from a nail to a broken heart, as something to be struck. The long-term consequence of this conditioning is not strength, it is brittleness. Men are left to carry the full weight of their human experience, their grief, their fear, their heartbreak, in complete silence. They become strangers to their own hearts and, in turn, strangers to the people who love them, setting the stage for a lifetime of quiet, unacknowledged loneliness.
Pillar 2. The fear of being a burden. Relational dynamics. As men grow and enter into deep friendships and romantic relationships, the fear of crying evolves. It's no longer just about breaking a social rule. It becomes a deep-seated, personal fear of being a burden to the people they love. Many men carry a powerful, often unconscious belief that their primary role in a relationship is to be the rock, the stable, unwavering source of strength and security for their partner and family. In this framework, crying feels like a fundamental failure of that duty. Imagine you're a man in a loving, committed relationship. You've just received some frightening news, perhaps a health scare or a major financial setback that could impact your family's future. The weight of it is crushing you. You feel overwhelmed, uncertain, and terrified. That evening, your partner can see the stress written all over your face. They sit with you, creating a safe space, and say, "Talk to me. Please don't go through this alone. We are a team." This is a clear, loving invitation for vulnerability. You want to accept it. You want to let go of the performance, to break down, and to share the terrifying weight you're carrying. But then, a chorus of voices starts screaming in your head. Your job is to protect her, not to frighten her. Your fear will become her fear. She needs you to be strong right now. If you fall apart, who will she lean on? She fell in love with a capable man, not a weeping child. Don't be a burden. And so you swallow the lump in your throat, push the tears back down into the dark, and you say the words you've been trained to say, "I'm okay. It's just a lot to process. I'll handle it." You have just chosen to protect your partner from your pain, but in doing so, you have also built a wall between you. The psychology here is tragic because it's rooted in a place of love and care. The man in this scenario isn't trying to be distant, he is trying to be a protector. The problem is that he is defining protection as perfection. He believes his partner needs him to be an infallible rock, when in reality, a healthy partnership is a flexible, resilient structure built by two people who can lean on each other. True strength in a relationship isn't one person being an unshakable pillar. It's two people building an arch, each supporting the other, creating a bond that is stronger than either individual. And here, we must apply the critical lens again. Is this fear entirely irrational? Not always. Let's be honest. Because male tears are so rare, men and women alike are genuinely uncomfortable when they witness them. We haven't been given a cultural script for how to react. A partner might panic, immediately jumping into fix-it mode, which can make the man feel like his emotions are indeed a problem to be solved. Or they might withdraw, their discomfort creating an awkward silence. So, a man's fear of a negative reaction is sometimes based on real-world experience. The solution isn't just for men to be more vulnerable. It's for all of us to become better, more patient listeners. The long-term consequence of this fear is a profound and painful irony. In an effort to be a better partner by being strong, a man slowly starves his relationship of the one thing it needs to truly thrive: authentic intimacy. He hides his most human self away, and the relationship, while it may look stable from the outside, suffers from a deep internal loneliness for both people involved. Let's pause on that. Think about the last time you saw a man cry in a movie or a TV show. It's almost always a huge dramatic plot point, isn't it? Now think about the last time you saw it in real life. It's a much quieter, more awkward, and rarer event. Why do you think there's such a huge gap? I'd be fascinated to hear your thoughts in the comments. Okay, let's look at the final piece of this puzzle.
Pillar 3. Tears as a gateway, the repressed self. The third and most introspective pillar is about understanding what tears, or the lack thereof, truly represent on a deeper psychological level. Tears are not just salty water. They are the body's natural release valve for intense emotion. They are the physical manifestation of feelings that have become too large to hold inside. When a man is conditioned from birth to never open that valve, he doesn't just block sadness. Over time, he can inadvertently block his connection to his entire inner emotional world. Think about the physical sensation of holding back tears. It's an active process, isn't it? It's a tightening in your throat, a clenching of your jaw, a heavy pressure in your chest. It is your body physically fighting against its own natural healthy response. When you do this for years, for decades, it becomes an unconscious, automatic reflex. You don't even realize you're doing it anymore. The active suppression of sadness eventually leads to a state of general emotional numbness, a disconnection from the self. This is why, for many men, the only easily accessible emotion left in their toolkit is anger. Anger is a hard, active, outward-facing emotion. It feels powerful, it feels masculine. Sadness, grief, and fear, on the other hand, are soft, vulnerable, inward-facing emotions. When these softer feelings are consistently and automatically suppressed, they don't just disappear, they curdle, they transmute. The profound grief over the loss of a parent might morph into a constant low-grade irritability. The deep fear of professional failure might transform into explosive road rage. Anger becomes the default, acceptable expression for every other vulnerable feeling that has been locked in the basement of the psyche. In this context, tears are more than just an expression of sadness. They are an act of psychological and physiological release. They are the key that unlocks the door to all those other repressed feelings. For a man who has not cried since childhood, the act can feel absolutely terrifying. He might fear that if he starts, he will never be able to stop, that a lifetime of pent-up grief will come flooding out. What he's really feeling is the immense built-up pressure of years of unprocessed emotion finally being given a chance to escape. Let's apply our critical lens one last time. Is it always healthy to cry? Not necessarily. There are times and places where emotional control is appropriate and necessary. The goal isn't to have men crying constantly. The goal is what psychologists call emotional integration. It's the ability to feel sadness without being consumed by it, to feel anger without being controlled by it, and to recognize that these feelings are not a threat to one's identity, but a vital part of one's humanity. The long-term consequence of blocking the gateway of tears is a man who is a stranger to himself, unable to access his own emotional truth. But the reward for finally having the courage to open that gate, even just a crack, is a profound return to his own whole, authentic self. So, we come back to our original question. Why don't we see men cry? It's not because they are unfeeling. It's because they have been systematically taught by a well-meaning but misguided culture that their tears are a liability, a sign of weakness, a burden to others, a violation of the very definition of what it means to be a man. The way forward is not about blaming anyone. It's about a collective, compassionate effort to change the conversation. It's about us as a society creating a new definition of strength, one that includes the immense courage it takes to be vulnerable. For men, the work starts with taking one small, brave risk, choosing one safe person, and sharing one real feeling. For the rest of us, the work is to learn how to receive that vulnerability. When a man in your life opens up, resist the urge to immediately fix it. Just listen, just be present.
Let him know that his feelings are not a burden, but a bridge to a deeper connection. Let's be the generation that teaches our sons, our brothers, our partners, and our friends that their tears are not a weakness to be hidden, but a language to be heard. Share this video with a man in your life. It's a way to start this important conversation without having to find all the words yourself. And please subscribe for more deep dives that help us understand each other and ourselves a little better. Thank you for watching.